Hi everyone, I'm Carolyn and I'm here today to offer you the benefits of flow. We're going to go through 6 ways that you can increase flow in your body and why flow is important. Regardless of where you're at in your life's journey, you can benefit from this. Now, just quickly, where this all comes from is through my distance energy healing business. And I have noticed over the last year there is a trend across many or most people that will benefit everyone. A number of these things may seem very obvious to you, but when put together with some of the other things that aren't so obvious, you can see how it really, at least I can, really establishes flow within this body that we use to travel this life's journey. So with that, I'm going to get into it. We're going to talk about 6 pieces of information that you can use to establish flow within your own body. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I've done and how I've experimented with this. So, all right, going to get started. So first of all, the benefits of flow within your body. We don't usually think about that, right? Well, first of all, it's processing everything that's going through our body. And we are made of energy. And energy is constantly moving and flowing through our body, whether it be through our chakras, which we'll talk about in a bit, or just our energetic pathway system, flowing in and out, in and out. And what this also allows is that light to come through us in a way that allows us to actually benefit from it and move it through our being and benefit those around us as well as the earth. So that said, we're going to get right into the first one that has to do with how you can establish flow in your body. All right. Now, one thing I meant to mention too is flow also allows us to establish that feeling of goodness and what I call joy within our bodies. It's about offering the opportunity for this good health that is available to us through working on practices that can assist us on a daily basis. So that energy that's moving through us is positive of nature, it's joyful, it assists us forward in having an amazing life. I think you'll see how that fits in here with these 6. So, getting right into it. All right, the first one is fluid intake. And you might say, well, yeah, that's obvious. Well, but it's kind of not, because we don't think about drinking that much water. So many of us do not drink enough water. In fact, in my sessions, what is constantly said is humans do not drink enough water. Flow, 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 flush, 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 water, water, water. The intake of water is too low for most of us, and therefore they are constantly encouraging us to have a container of water, and they say pure water, all right? You can argue what pure water is these days, but pure water with us at all times, rather than just going to the faucet or grabbing a bottle of water kind of when we're thirsty, because by then we're overly thirsty and that's not good for flow. Okay, remember the point here is maintaining flow, not just offering it at certain times. So I have become accustomed to having a very large bottle of water with me at all times. Now I will say, for those of you experiencing spiritual awakening, which I realize some of you may not be at this point in time, but don't get hung up about that because this all pertains to you. But for those of you going through spiritual awakening and listening to this, I found, and I think many people have found, they have a greater need for water during spiritual awakening. And there is a period of time where you're just consuming mountains of water. I went through this over 2 years and never have drank so much water. So what I did to make sure that I wasn't craving it, I always had a bottle there. Now this has subsided recently, and I believe there's reasons for that at the stage that I'm actually in. But regardless of where you are in your journey, water, water, water. Plus, they love jasmine tea. They talk about the phytonutrients in green tea, and in particular, they say jasmine tea is divine, and they've said this more than once. So I think that's fascinating, and I have taken up, just in the last couple weeks, drinking jasmine tea, and I add mint to it. And honestly, I feel that it's an addition to the water, and I don't think I've been drinking enough to really notice something. Now, I will say one thing is I tend to drink a lot of fluid as it is anyway, so I may not notice that difference when I start to increase when I started to increase, but I can tell when I'm craving it that I need that water. So anyway, water, water, flush, flush, flow, flow. And the benefit to that is getting those energies in and throughout, being able to flush out what is not needed. All right. So posture is huge. And again, you may say, well, yeah, well, but we don't do it. We really don't, particularly nowadays. The people that I work with, and I do this too. So many of them are sitting at a computer during the day or leaning over their phones. And guess what's happening? Your neck is bent over, facing your computer, and you're in a crooked position. All right. And I see that in my distance energy healing work because I actually work in the body. And when I get to the neck, I often see the tipped over view of things. And what that does is it does not allow the spine to process through the energies. What my angels and guides have told me is the spine is the seat of all. It is the highway of all to the rest of the body. We don't really think of it like that. And when you start thinking of your spine differently, you understand how important it is that this head that we have on our shoulders is part of that spinal structure. And the need for that head to be straight on our shoulders, with our shoulders back, and a nice alignment of posture with our core held in is so important. And you will feel completely different. Now remember, these all go together. These aren't just one of these things you're going to pick and do. All right. So a more conscious effort to be able to sit with your head up, what they say is head on neck, neck on shoulders, because you want to do this, shoulders back, posture. Those are their words they use for everyone. And I've actually had some people, and I'm trying to do this too, where they've consciously made an effort to make a change and they feel completely different. And again, what we've got then is you've got the alignment, okay? You've got the water from the first one we talked about flowing through you and able to get through to you rather than getting a compressed neck, which I see so often in people. All right? That's number 2. Number 3, stretching, a regular stretching routine. And I'm going to tell you, I think a number of people who think they have arthritis, it's about stretching because you can feel so pained when your body has not had movement. Because a lot of people don't exercise. Okay, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But stretching's a whole nother thing. All right. So that in and of itself opens up the opportunity for your body to flow. Because if your muscles and all that surrounds our structural system is not in a flexible state or hasn't woken up in the morning or before you go to bed or throughout the day, well, you're going to have difficulty with flow. And I know this because first of all, I exercise a lot and I work out regularly. And I thought that's all I needed. No, because I started getting cramps and I started getting pains in places that I never had before. And again, as you go through spiritual awakening, for those of you who are in that category as such, you're going to notice some of these physical changes and more sensitive to them, I believe. And what I noticed was my body was starting to seize up. And I thought, what am I going to do? And then I started realizing, wait a minute, I need to listen to the advice that our angels and guides are giving everyone in our sessions. So what I do now, and it has made a marked difference. And if this is all you do, it's going to help you. When I get up in the morning, the first thing I do after giving gratitude is stretch. I do a series of just little stretches on the floor, and it wakes my whole body up, all right? I also practice yoga. I'm not saying you have to go do yoga, but I will tell you it opens up the flow of the body unlike anything else. And when you add that to constant fluid intake and your alignment, those 3 things alone are going to make a marked difference for you. So I would suggest, and again, what I'm looking at here is the minimal you need to do to start to notice some kind of difference. I would suggest the stretches in the morning for your hips, for your entire body, for your hips, your shoulders, your back, your feet, your hands, and your neck. All right, so you kind of get the entirety of yourself moving in the morning rather than just getting up and going. All right. It takes a minute. Do that at the end of the day as well, but try to do it during the day too, particularly if you're in an office job and you don't have a job that allows you a lot of movement. You can still go do stretches. You know what? You can even do stretches in the bathroom stall. And I've done that before if you don't have a place where you can actually do that. So stretching is critically important. I highly recommend yoga, as that will continue to open up your body, even if you do it a couple times a week. I do yoga 2 times a week, officially in an hour-long class. When I stop, I notice a difference. So again, those are the first 3 things to think about, okay? Now we're getting into that word exercise. Some of us are obsessed with our exercise. That's kind of me. But you don't have to be. And what they talk about, the angels and guides in the sessions, they talk about how humans undervalue the exercise of walking. It's highly undervalued. We all think, and we see this all the time, and I think this is what turns a lot of people off from going and creating an exercise program, is it has to be this great intensity of sweating nature, and you're just in pain and you're not liking it. Guess what? Walking. And I am an intense exerciser, been athletic all my life, and I decided that if I was going to offer this as a concept for flow for people, that I was going to start walking. And I have started walking over the last month, and I cannot begin to tell you how I feel. I walk about an hour, not that you have to do that, at a brisk pace. And added to the other pieces that I'm talking about, what you're doing is your body's got to move. Again, you may say, well, this is obvious, but you're putting this together as a package to allow flow into your body. So walking and moving, I do one in the morning as I can, a quick walk before I start my day. And then I do one in the middle of the day. And then I try to get a third one in. That's been really hard for me. However, I do gardening as well. So that movement, but that walking takes your whole body movement. And again, opens up flow. Again, you're moving the energies through, and with that water and with that stretching you're doing, and with the posture, again, walking with an upright posture, you're going to see a marked difference, all right? So now we're getting into some things that might be new for some of you, but I believe it's kind of like the icing on the cake, all right, and really important. Chakra work. So chakras are our energy centers. For those of you who might not understand what chakras are, we have many chakras all over, minor ones, major ones, and I'm only going to talk briefly about the 7. And you can look online about chakras. And honestly, I have learned chakras, I mean, it feels very innate to me. I have not gone out to learn about chakras that much. I've read a few things, but you can make this up because it's your intention that matters in what you do, in the practices that you establish. We are powerful beings, and you can establish a practice that will work for you that is of your own creative nature. So I made mine up, but it's based on some, I guess, practices that many other people do. The chakras start with your root down at your foundation, all right, kind of in your groin area. Then you have your sacral chakra, which is up more in your belly button area, all right. And I'm not going to go into all of this, but I'm just going to explain how to do this, and you can research chakras yourself. Then we have solar plexus chakra, all right, which is really in that main stomach area. Then we have our heart chakra. Then we have our throat chakra. Then we have our third eye. And then we have our crown. Okay, so I'm just talking about those 7 today. So what I do, I try to do this every day. I'm not always good at doing it, but I meditate regularly, which is kind of a foundation as well. That's a whole nother thing. But within your meditation, or just sitting down and being calm and quiet, visualize looking at your chakras and the colors and their associated colors with them and their movement. You may be able to visualize, like I can over a practice period of time, what it feels like in each of those chakras. So what I would say to you, if you're brand new at this, go out online, take a look at what chakras are, but then sit down and visualize seeing your own chakras. All right? I visualize my body, and then I close my eyes, and I just kind of assess and look at each of the chakras. And then what I do, and this is my practice, you can do what you want, I turn in a clockwise motion to open them up if they need open. Sometimes they're overactive, which the whole idea is to offer a balance within your chakras. And again, the chakras are where your energies move through, all right? So what you want to have is a nice flow. And sometimes you're going to feel maybe a little off in a certain chakra area, and that's when you might know that that is an area that needs to be focused. Now, there's all sorted attachments to chakras, emotions, feelings, and I'm not going to get in that today, but I just want you to understand how important chakras are to energy flow within your body and to this whole concept of flow that I'm talking about. So what you do is you go through each of the chakras and you kind of assess and say, that looks like that's kind of stuck or murky looking, or the color's not bright, or it's too low. In my case, I look at low and high, but that's my idea, and you can kind of make it up as you go. Clockwise turning and maybe adjusting a little bit. And I actually can feel, as you do this more, you're going to feel this within your body, and it's an amazing feeling, and you can just kind of feel them open up and balance, because it's all about your intention. What do you want for your body? Sit down, consider it, visualize it, and make it happen, all right? So study chakras a little bit if you're not familiar with them, but make up your own practice so that you can adjust them on a regular basis, because all of this that we go to other people for can ultimately be learned, and that includes healing ourselves, which is an entirely another topic, which I'll cover at some point down the road. Anyway, so now we've covered chakras. There's another piece to this that I consider to be energy clearing, all right? So I go through my body, and I actually feel this when it happens, and this will come with practice. And again, all of this is about patience, all right, and a consistent practice. I go through each of my chakras. I envision my body standing up, or excuse me, lying down. And then I just go with my hands and I pull out excess energy or energy that is not needed in my body, and I go through each chakra, okay? And I can feel in my physical body that energy coming out as I move through each of my chakras. And again, what this is about for me, and again, you'll find your way on this, is being able to clear energies that may not be yours, or maybe excess, or just need some clearing, all right? I have found this to be immensely beneficial to me. So I do that first, and then I do the chakras, all right? And again, this is along with all the other pieces I've talked about. Again, this opens up flow for the energies that are yours, and that light that comes into us on a daily basis, and all those energies that are beneficial to us to be able to flow properly, all right? And the reason you also want to do this is every single day we're around energies, whether it's literally through the internet, you can pick up energy because everything is energy. You pick up energy through people you're around. I don't consider there to be evil energy. It's just the vibration that people are at, all right? So, but the point is you have your own energy and you want to be in your own beautiful space. So after you're done with the day of being around people, and before you go to bed, clear your energy space, all right? Do that little practice that I just talked about. Do the chakras, do the energy clearing for your body. It literally takes like a minute or two, okay? And everybody can do this. You make it up yourself. But again, we want to clear that space of the energy that's within you that you've taken in, that we all share as part of being human in our everyday, all right? So that is what we have for the energy clearing within the body. Now, I like to energy clear my space, all right? Saging is a beautiful thing. It's taking a sage stick that you probably all seen somewhere and walk. At first, I thought, no, really, how is this going to help me? Oh my gosh, that sage, and this is very much a part of many Native American rituals, as well as other cultures' rituals, but clearing the space. And I move around in, I don't know, I go in a figure eight, but many people say, oh, go in a clockwise direction. Again, I still say it's all about your intention. And I walk through my house, because sometimes I'll feel like, oh, gee, it's been 2 weeks since I've saged my house, because I will admit I do forget to do this. And then I sage my body, and I kind of just walk around and turn around in circles, and I immediately feel a difference. Now, I will say, for those of us who are going through the spiritual awakening process, and for those of you who don't understand what that is, you can look it up online and see, because ultimately I think we are all going through it, or will. Some of us are just kind of going through it now more than others. I believe you will feel this energy clearing in a very profound way. Move through your house, move through your space, and then offer that out as a clearing of energies. Again, it's your intention, what you want to do with that sage. And then I've started to use a Palo Santo stick, which is a beautiful wood, just a tiny little stick, and I burn that. And I think it's because I like the smell so much, but that helps bring in the clarity of energies and the clarity of energies and the positive energies, and just makes for a really nice space. So that's a Palo Santo stick. These things you can get at any, I would say, like gem and rock store often, metaphysical shops. You probably have one in your area, and if you live in a small town, you can certainly find something online. So those 6 things, and I'll go through them again: fluid, flush, water, water, posture, head on neck, neck on shoulders, shoulders back, alignment, posture, stretching morning and night in a small way. Yoga is really beneficial. Exercise, don't underestimate the value of walking. Chakras, adjust those daily or as often as you remember, but you'll notice a difference. And then that energy clearing, not only of your body, but of your space. So again, today I offer you how to establish flow in your body, because that's what it's all about. Energy flowing through our body so we can use it most efficiently throughout the course of our day. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again in a future video or working with you in my distance energy healing business. Thank you.